We now have one more session to go before we wind up the 36th Natyakala Conference. But I cannot bid farewell without introducing to you some people who played crucial and vital roles in making this conference a reality. And I would like to call them to stage to acknowledge the crucial role that they all played. First, I'd like to introduce to you Srimati Akhila Krishnamurthy, Head of ALAP, an initiative in the performing arts, collaborating with artists and aiding them with promotion, curation, and production. Akhila and her team have been working closely with me for almost a year and have been helping me to convert my vision into this conference. And we have had many ideation and brainstorming sessions and then worked together to present and promote and manage this 5-day event. She's been a great source of strength and support, and I thank her and her team. Akhila.
Thank you.
Payal Chabria, assisting Akhila, was invaluable in all the detailing and communication work, and she put in a lot of effort for this conference. Thank you, Payal. Come on. The conference team at the venue was a set of brilliant youngsters, dancers themselves, who played a vital role in the smooth flow of the event on and off stage. I'd like to introduce all of them. I request you to come up on stage. We have Madhuvanti, Sarveshan, Akshara, Adarsha, Varsha, Preeti, Gomati, and Sharath. We can do that at the end also.
Thank you.
Shri V.V. Ramani created this stage design and formatted the stage for each session of the conference. My sincere thanks to him. The conference was supported by the sponsors, and I'm deeply grateful to each one of them for their spontaneous support. I don't know if all of them are here, but I request Mr. Venkatesh, brand manager, Meera, to come on stage. Is he here? Yeah, he's here. Mr. Rajivan from GRT. Mrs. Jayashri Ravi, the head of Shri Palam Silks. Also wish to acknowledge Mr. Ramesh Swami, MD of Hotel Hotels, who's not here today. Thank you, all of you, for your much needed support. Mr. Kumaran of Swati Soft Solutions for the picture-perfect live streaming of the conference, which I'm so happy to say had quite a few online viewers as well. Also thanking Mr. Sudhakar and Mr. Ranjit, who are not here today. Mr. Kader of Mr. Chella Videos team and Mr. Prabhakar from Yoga Photos and Videos for the lovely videography and photography done. Could one of you just come up? I also would like to thank Mr. Muttu of Sri Krishna Gana Sabha for on-stage facilitation and support. The audio team of Mr. Mani, Mr. Shobin and Mr. Vivek for the management of the audio systems. Mr. Shekhar for the management of the lights. We had a vibrant social media team as well. Ms. Shama Nair and Ms. Deepa Guruswamy. Shama Nair is from Influx and Deepa Guruswamy actually works with me at Apollo Hospitals for their vibrant digital promotion of the conference, live videos and the social media buzz. Lavanya Vijay for being constantly there to assist and support me in the administrative management and for all detailing of the conference. I thank Shri Y. Prabhu and his team of Sabha office bearers and committee members at the Shri Krishna Gana Sabha for all their guidance and help throughout this year as we planned and prepared for the conference and then implemented it. Of course, such a protracted effort would not be possible without the understanding and emotional support from my mother and my family. My being convener would have also not been possible without a supportive workplace in Apollo Hospitals. I'm profusely thankful to both. And now, before we move on to the next session, it's now time for a few awards and prizes, which I request Akila Krishnamurthy to read out.
Thank you, Srinidhi. In our attempt to encourage young minds, young dancers, dance aspirants to participate in the conference, we introduced a few contests. So we reached out to students of dance schools and we requested the gurus to send their students. In fact, we offered if there is a way that we can send out vans and stuff. So the school that, it's a quantitative contest and based on the registrations that we have, the school that will win this award is school called Natya Sankalpa by Urmila Satyanarayanan. There were 17 students. This is, let me clarify, this is an individual dance school and not a dance institution. Natya Sankalpa, may I please request if Urmila is in the audience or a representative from the dance school. There were 17 girls who came every single day and they took the time to register at our desk. Based on that, based on the math, may I please invite one representative from the school and may I invite Dr. Srinidhi Chidambaram to please present the award to them. Not to waste too much time, there's another, I'd also like to recognize another dance institution, the Kalakshetra, that showed up in large numbers and really enriched the festival with their interesting questions and participation. May I please invite a representative from the Kalakshetra to please receive the award. This is for Kalakshetra. There were nearly 45 students from the Kalakshetra who were here with us every day. Thank you very much. Natya Sankalpa, I hope you've not let me down by not showing up today. Okay, okay. Please. We have a little trophy on behalf of the Sthitigati team for them. We also had another contest where we observed young dancers who asked interesting questions. And I'm very happy to say that the two questions that we found the most interesting were questions that were asked today, which is a very, very thought-provoking question that got a very, very thought-provoking response. I'd like to call on stage Aishwarya from Kala Diksha. She asked Dr. Geeta Chandran a question about, about the monetary aspect of, performance. So I also like the question that Sai Shruti Krishnaswamy from the Tapas Academy asked yesterday to the dancing, to the gurus, the panel that she spoke about the importance of competition, and she asked a question whether if one were not to compete, if on the one hand we talk about like no need to compete, then why are there dance competitions? We thought that elicited an interesting response as well. So may I please call upon stage? Yeah. There's also another question. Unfortunately, Varsha from Kalarpana is not here, so may I please request Shobana or another student of hers to please receive the award on her. Yeah, oh, fantastic. Please come on stage. She asked a really interesting question to Dr. Anita Ratnam. This apart, we also had a contest where I think Srinidhi was playing these very interesting jatis that were compiled by Swami Maleshi S.K. Suresh. And I was observing that the first person to always respond and who got, I think, 4 out of the 8 jatis that were played is none other than Mr. Prabhu, Secretary of Sri Krishna Gana Sabha. So please may I invite on stage Mr. Prabhu to receive the award from Dr. Srinidhi. Which one is first? Varsha? Aishwarya. Sai Shruti, are you here? Sai Shruti. And finally, Mr. Prabhu.
I am going to give a token of our goodwill later. It is not quid pro quo, mind you.
Thank you very much. We really had fun putting together these contests, so thank you very much for your participation.
Now we move on to the final session of today's program. And this is going to be presented by an artist who has had a brilliant career in both Bharatanatyam and cinema, known for her completely classical approach to Bharatanatyam. She's extremely popular, extremely creative and intelligent artist with, needless to say, a wonderful stage presence which we all admire. I have great pleasure in welcoming my dear friend and colleague Shobana to stage and to commence her presentation on multifaceted journey through Bharatanatyam and share with us her reflections and experiences. I also welcome Professor Sri Kaladharan, who will converse with her on this session, a well-known critic of performing arts and part of the faculty and VC at Kerala Kalamandalam. Professor Kaladharan has done more than 25 years of research in the field of Kathakali and given extensive lectures in universities all around the world. Welcome, Shobana. And
it's
It's lovely to see a nice audience, more than what comes for dance. I'd also like to thank Kaladharan sir for having come here on my request. I have great admiration for him. He's been associated with the Kerala Kala Mandalam for over 3 decades. And he has this vast knowledge that has come only from looking, not only Mohiniyattam, but he's been exposed to lovely artists. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So this is about a very good friend of mine saying that I have to be part of this conference. And so I said, okay, I have some questions that people have been asking me, and maybe we could just pile it all together, and if he can ask me, that will be a day or a session. So only one thing is that I'm a little camera shy, so if you want to shut off those flashes. Thank you. So G, I'm all yours.
Okay. Yeah, before I begin, let me just, standing here, I feel so privileged because I was here twice and I did give lectures on Kathakali and I don't know, maybe on Mohiniyattam too, yeah, on 2 occasions. So once again, this is a great privilege to be here, and also alongside one of the great dancers and actors, Shobana. I thank Shobana for giving me this space to stand here and converse with you as well as with the audience. Now I just feel a little formal with the whole situation. Before I was here, then I felt it to be a little too informal, but now an air of formality somehow lingers in this hall, yeah.
Because of all the brilliant stalwarts,
Could be,
Lakshmi
yeah.
Akka,
Yeah, could be, yeah.
Leela ji, Sunil ji.
Yeah. Thank you. And I just remember the legendary dancer Bala Saraswati once said, one cannot teach Abhinaya. It's difficult to teach Abhinaya. It should come as a spontaneous flow from the dancer. And as a dancer and actor, what do you feel about it?
Spontaneous flow will come for some. It has to be cultivated in some. It is about how old you are. It is about what your experiences are. At a base level, for a student, it's about the facial muscles initially. It's about how much of mimicking potential you actually have. And Balama is right, because these days it's quite difficult to teach Abhinaya. You're telling the student, this is a Kandita Naika, and she's upset that her beloved has gone to another woman. And here she's beautiful and she's waiting, and you can hear the student, in her mind says, let him go, it's okay. It's all right, get a life. So I can hear that. So what I do is, I feel that it's not enough to teach the theory, the Ashtanayikas and all the stories, but I always come up with a little bit of storytelling about the piece, about anecdotes about the heroines, a little bit of humor, so then they get into it. And the other thing is, it's about age. You can't expect a young dancer to take you into spiritual bliss. You can't even expect people like us to do it, but so it is difficult, and it is not. It is about art. You need to be an artist for that.
Yeah. Let me just move on to another question. Before becoming a dancer, you had established yourself as an accomplished actor. And in a modern medium like cinema, it gives a lot of scope for getting involved in Abhinaya. Whereas when it comes to a dance form like Bharatanatyam, it's very demanding. So it actually needs a kind of fine-tuning of your body and the mind. And I'm just wondering, I've been wondering all these years, how do you reconcile both?
So, I have been asked this question many times. For me, I usually draw a blank The only thing that is common in both acting and dancing is that we use makeup for the two. There is no similarities whatsoever. There is a communication. Here and now is what we do in films. The camera can just capture with a blink, your blink of an eye. And if you want to say something, the editor can just change it. But, you know, in dance, you're talking about legends, you're talking about mythology, you're talking about an ethos of a different culture. And in films, it's about freezing it on the frame, nothing changes after that. Whereas here, Abhinaya is something that has to be worked at. So they're two very, very different forms of communication.
Sure.
And I do know that a lot of great actresses, I have heard them say that we have two left feet. Shobana Azmi told me that. So Smita Patil, Shobana Azmi, Nargis, all of them, they didn't need to learn dancing. So the other question that I've been asked is, cinema la nadikirathukku classical dance venuma? I venum, vendam, angiradhu, I don't know. But again, people come to me, aspiring actresses, and they want to learn, and I tell them there is no shortcut. It's a 30-year-old practice, and they just leave like that.
Yeah. And of course, how does the individuality of the dancer evolve? Because as a dancer, you have taken only the quintessence of your guru, but the rest is yours. So how does the individuality of the dancer is evolved?
Individuality of me, I think, evolved because I didn't go to a college of dance. I went to a highly intelligent guru who taught me how to think, who equipped me to go out there and find myself. Yes, we don't get up in the morning and say that we want to be individual. We don't do that. We kind of, you know, it grows with us, with our experiences. We change. So initially, the teachers, thankfully for me, her philosophy of movement suited my body. So after my 15 to 20 years, I had to move on because she had equipped me to move on. The body changes, the mind changes, experiences come, the ear changes. You want to listen to different kinds of music, you want to go on your own path. So I think most artists are individual. All are actually.
Yeah. So it's a continuous process, you mean?
It should be a continuous process. I mean, I'm nobody to say that it should be or not. I'm just saying that I love to learn.
Yeah.
And that's why I also like to teach.
Okay. And I've also noticed that your range is so astounding because from the Tanjore Quartet, right from Tanjore Quartet to Bach. So what's your concept about choreography and how do you conceptualize choreography?
I can't say I was born with a gift, but I like I like music. That comes first to me. Yes. I always find that music has been very inspiring. I get inspired by people, I get inspired by children. That's why I wanted to teach, because as you said initially, I was in films and it was a cloistered atmosphere. I wanted to meet people, regular people, so I began to teach. So there I also wanted to meet people who are not judgmental and biased, and children were like that. So that's why I began to teach, and I get inspired by them. Of course, they grow up, and that sometimes is not very nice, but so yes, you're motivated by everything you see. You're motivated, by this ambience, by the audience, by people, by stories, by other people, other artists.
Okay. You're a solo dancer sticking to the classicism, but then you're constantly innovative. For instance, what triggers you to experiment, like Krishna and trance? These are the experiments which have appealed to thousands of spectators.
the structure that I have is given down to me. I don't think I innovate too much in that. I just make it a little more dense. I give it some more grammar, I give it some more music, some more rhythm, and I try to make it a little more interesting for myself.
Okay.
But I don't have the need. Like some people come and ask me, இந்த வருஷம் என்ன புதுசா பண்றீங்க? I hate that question. I don't like that. Can you title your dance? Concept. So I am a person who thinks like that. But at the same time, because I'm very happy with what I do, with what I have learned and with what I do for a living, there are these other things that also come by. That is where, art is just not classical dancing. There is so many other things. So I feel like embracing everything around me.
Yeah.
So that's why I take theatre, I take film music, I take classical and film music, then, you call it fusion. It's not always confusion. Sometimes it works for me.
How much can a classical dance be a popular entertainment? Of course, you may feel a kind of elitism in my question, but how popular a classical dance can be? Should it address the Nana Janams as we see in Natyashastra, or should it appeal only to the prakshakas, the initiated?
So I see almost a full house. Maybe it's more for the lectins than the Natya. But so I don't know how to answer this question, but some of the questions are planned. So here we are. Bharata says that Natya is the imitation of life. Loka Nukruti, wherein the various human emotions have to be dramatically glorified, so that the spectator is able to flavor the portrayed pleasure and pain. Lokasya Sukha Dukkha as Natya Rasa. This rasa experience will entertain and enlighten the spectator, who hence becomes the rasika. So the story goes that one day, Lord Indra and a lot of other gods, they went to Brahma and they said, we are, full of troubles and woes. So give us something that we can ease our woes with. So the creator, he takes the fifth Veda and he makes the Natya Shastra and he gives it to Indra. And he says, you will have to take it out to people who are very self-controlled, very disciplined and very straight. So then the god said, it's not us. So he then, I believe the story goes is that they gave it to sage Bharata and his 100 sons.
I know. Yeah.
So this is also what it is. You can entertain. I don't think there's anything wrong. It's about a sense of aesthetics. Everybody has a sense of aesthetics. Some might say this is right, this is wrong. Once you say that this is wrong and this is right, it means that your growth has already stopped. It is a sense of aesthetics that has been given to you, that has been cultivated to you.
Yeah, maybe as a strange contradiction, I've noticed that if a penchant for Ghana ragas, like Shankarabharanam and Kalyani, these ragas you're using most often, and even for Tilanas, because I don't know, for some reasons, I think that when it comes to Tilana, it would be great to use some Depthi ragas, and even those ragas which may not have so much of a range, but some ragas that are so fascinating in terms of the way in which it is rendered, like Abheri or Pahadi, or even you have used Pahadi, of course.
Yes, one thing is I don't even know what a Rakti Raga is. So I think it's something lighter and something which has more scope. But for me, a lot of people do Tilanas for different reasons. One is it's a margam, it's tradition, you have to do a Tilana. If you can do a Tilana, you do one. And the other one, it's a joyous experience, it takes you to a different plane. And sometimes you also, for me, if I do a Tilana, which is rare these days, I make sure that I take the matter to get a little more dense. So then it is difficult for me to put, because you've already done the Varnam. You've got all these complexities in the Varnam. then it is difficult for me to then do the same thing in the Tilana. You want to showcase something else, something which could be a little better rhythmically. So, example, if you have a nice pahadi, can somebody sing me a pahadi? Okay. So if you go, sorry, you have to listen to my singing, but Deem tanana, tadirana, tirana, dirana. You can't be doing takadinna, takita, takadinna, takajunda, takadinna, takita, takita, takita. It usually doesn't match, right? So you want to do something else that goes with it. So for me, I think the structure of the rhythm has to sit well. Tilana is usually a musical lehra. And for me, I find it better to do a complex rhythmic structure because it is expected out of you that sits on a more simpler, heavier kind of a raga. But before that, I know that I will show you kind of a piece that my student Malavika Saji will do, where you were talking about a student and Abhinaya. So I'd just like to showcase this. I think I missed that. Sorry.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, please. The next one also. I like this song. So that was to show how a young student can do Abhinaya. And I'll give you another piece where it's difficult sometimes to teach when we just kind of miss that. But when we were teaching, there is a lot of Kshetrajna Padams. That is one thing that I wanted to explain. So we don't teach the younger students. How many of you are above 18 actually in this hall? Most of you. Okay, thank you. So, just crossed 18. Okay, so Kshetrajna Padams are considered to be very much part of the tradition, but I don't do them so much because for me, if it takes me to a sphere of bliss, then some of the connotation and the imagery that I see in a Kshetrajna Padam, they're a little body. Padam itself in Telugu, I believe, means body and crass. So I prefer doing an Ashtapadi. So for me, it is like that, and therefore I don't do so many Kshetrajna Padams. But I will show you another Padam, a very short snippet. Smarasundaranguni, which I think will suit a child of this age. Ha, Chavali.
Smarasundaranguni sariyavare, Smarasundaranguni sariyavare, Smarasundaranguni sariyavare. సరస కోటిలోన పల్సేరు హరిరే స్పరసుందరముని సరియవరే సరస కోటిలోన పల్సేరు హరిరే స్పరసుందరముని సరియవరే సరస కోటిలోన.
So, we were also discussing certain things about, he was asking me why I do more of Maharaja Swati Trunal's
Composition.
compositions.
Yeah.
I'm Kerala to the bone. So, it's also because of this. It's not that I don't do Kshetrajna Padams. I do when I like the music. So, I will just do one now, a small bit, and show you. It's difficult because some of it is very, very graphic. What artists do is, when they take the Kshetrajna Padams, they don't do more than one charanam. Now that's usually the best and the safest of the charanam. So when it gets on, it gets more and more graphic. For me, I don't see the point of taking something graphic and then trying to be dignified about it. Might as well you don't do it. Anyway, there is one padam that I'd like to do for you now. It's a beautiful song.